Students, in this video, we will again start our first chapter, that is Introduction to Microprocessor 8085. Here, the block diagram of microcomputer. So, this is a block diagram of microcomputer. Now here, we will see some main parts of our microcomputer. First part is your keyboard. This keyboard is connected to this MPU or CPU. Next, after MPU, the main block is ROM. ROM stands for read only memory. Next part is your RAM. RAM stands for random access memory. The next part is your display device. Now, here, this keyboard is not directly connected to the MPU, or you can call it as a CPU. MPU stands for microprocessor unit and CPU stands for central processing unit. Now here, this keyboard sends data first to the keyboard interface. Then the keyboard interrupt sends one signal to the MPU and that signal is called as a interrupt line. Next, for the CPU, the clock is attached. Now, this is RAM memory, ROM memory, RAM memory, and again the output is given to the display device, or you can call it as a monitor through display interface. Now, again, here there is a address decoder which is used to decode the addresses. Here, this MPU is connected to this address decoder. Now, this address decoder samples the addresses, and these addresses are sent to keyboard, ROM memory, RAM memory, and display interface. So, here, this is your address bus. This address bus is a bidirectional. Sorry, this bus is a unidirectional from CPU. Means only CPU can send addresses on this bus. Now here, this part is your data bus. Data bus is a bidirectional. Bidirectional means any device can send data on this bus or receive data from this bus. And third bus here, this is a control bus. Now here inside this part is your control bus. This control bus controls all the signals of this device. Next, all these blocks are connected to the power supply. So power supply is necessary for the circuit. And there are some chip select lines which are used to select different parts. So this is a main diagram of your block main diagram of microcomputer. Now we will see how each part will works. So first we will see the main blocks. First is your input device. You are providing input to the computer through keyboard. Next part is your MPU or you can call it as a CPU. Both are same. Third part is your ROM memory, that is read only memory, which is called as a program memory. Next is RAM, that is random access memory, or you can call it as a data memory. Next is your output device, and here output device we are using is a monitor. Next is your address decoder, clock, and last is your power lines. So these are the main blocks of your micro. Next part is buses. Inside a microcomputer, there are three types of buses. First bus is your address bus, which is used to send addresses from the MPU. Generally, this bus is a 16-bit, so you can transmit 16-bit address on this bus. Now, second is your data bus. Data bus is a 8-bit, so you can transmit 8-bit data on this bus, and this is a bidirectional. Bidirectional means CPU can send data on this bus or receive data from this bus. Now, third is your control bus. So control bus is used to control all the signals generated by the system. See the first block, that is a keyboard. So here, when we are entering instructions through keyboard, then here it is not possible to transmit your data directly to the MPU or CPU, because here there are two reasons. First reason is that CPU may be busy in performing previous instructions, and the second reason is that the speed of your CPU and the speed of keyboard may not be equal. So your data entered through keyboard is not directly accessed to the CPU. So for that, that data is stored in keyboard interface for some time. After storing the data into keyboard interface, that keyboard interface sends interrupt signal to the MPU. Interrupt signal sends means it is disturbing to the MPU that I want you. So here, when CPU receives interrupt signal through keyboard interface, it stops its normal execution and then accepts the data entered through the keyboard interface and then processes on this data. Now, this keyboard interface is connected to the address bus, chip select lines, and control lines. Okay, so this is your first part, that is keyboard. Second part is your MPU, or you can call it as a CPU. So here, this is the main brain of your microcomputer. All the processes are stored in this, all the processes are executed in the MPU only. Now here, there are three main parts of, or three main functions related to the MPU. First is to receive information in digital form through keyboard interface. Second is process on this information with the help of arithmetic and logic unit. And third is your to send that result to the output devices. So this microprocessor unit performs these three main functions. Now ROM memory. ROM memory also called as a program memory. Now program memory or ROM memory. ROM stands for read only memory. Now here this indicates that we can only read information from this memory. Again, this memory is connected to address bus, chip select lines, and read signal lines. Now here ROM memory means your fixed instructions. When you start your PC first time, then it shows some instructions, and that memory is called as a ROM memory. Now, or you can call it as a data memory. RAM stands for random access memory, and this is a temporary storage device. Means the data on this memory is stored for the temporary purpose. It is a 8-bit wide, and here it is a read write memory. Means you can read also data and you can write also data on this memory. Your output devices, that is monitor. Now after preparing result, CPU sends data first in the display interface, and after storing data in display interface, then it sends data to the monitor through 7-segment LED display, and we can see the data on the monitor. What is your address decoder? Decode, which decodes the addresses. So it is used to sample the data, and according to the data, it selects the proper device. Now, next part is your clock. So your whole circuitry is synchronized with clock. So within some amount of time, instruction should be executed. The speed of system depends on the clock frequency. Next part is your power lines. Power lines means it is a supply to the block diagram. And here power lines are necessary because all the blocks requires power supply. So box of your microcomputer. Now next part is your features of microprocessor 8085. So here first feature is that it is available in 40 pin DIP package, means there are total 40 pins in this microprocessor 8085. Now next part is your data bus. So 8085 consists of 8-bit data bus. So 1 byte data you can transfer on this bus. Now third is your, it is having address bit bus 16 bit. Now here this address bus is divided into two groups, LSB and MSB. So least significant bits stands for LSB. Now here address bus is 16 bits, means the you can indicate it like A0 to A15. A0 to A15. This indicates that this is the 16 bit. Now from this A0 to A15, A0 to A7, these bits are for the data memory. Means the data is not sent on the separate line. It is it's sent with the help of address bus bits A0 to A7. So commonly it is known as address data bus because it uses same 8 lines of address bus for the transmission. And here this concept means many things you are using for the one purpose is known as multiplex bus. So data bus bits are AD0 to AD7. Now next feature is your, that is 8085 uses external memory. To select external memory, the one system is used, and that system is called as a IO mapped IO system. And the last is the instruction set of 8085 consists of 74 instructions. So here these are the main 5 features of your microprocessor